what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Dough Show. Happy Monday. Did a little rearranging around the office, so if something seems a little off, I'm sorry. We're actually going to try to do the closing beat a little different later today, maybe on a little different sort of setup there. But today and this week entirely, we're talking about your retirement number, your retirement plan. We are going to get you focused like a laser on whatever it is retirement that you're thinking. If you happen to be watching this for the first time, we do the Dough Show every day at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And so this week, we just happen to have retirement as a topic. So if you're thinking about it, let us walk you through it. We're going to do it in stages just like we've done. We'll cover everything this week, including how much to save for your retirement, investing for your retirement, getting your dough straight, saving for your kids, creating a plan. Well, that's where we're going to start today, is actually with creating a plan. Now, look, this is really, really simple on a general scale. To sit down and say, what do I want out of the future? I will get old. I know I will get old. What do I want out of the future? Well, that's something that you can pretty much figure out pretty easily. You grab a piece of paper, you can write it down and go, look, I don't want to stress. Look, I want to be able to travel once or twice a year in the early portion of my retirement, so when I get too old to travel, I won't care. I won't feel the regret, the missing out. And so you can work through those things and try to imagine what it is that you may or may not want in retirement. It will change, I promise you, but you can at least start. So creating a plan doesn't have to be going and sitting in an office with the leather wingback chair, the guy in the suit and tie who really can't afford the suit and tie, and drawing up some sort of plan in a nice glossy paper book and taking it home and slapping it in the junk drawer and never looking at it again. A plan should get you excited. You should always be excited about whatever goal you're putting together. So whether you're saving for a house, whether you're saving for a vacation, you get excited about that, right? I mean, I get excited at the thought of possibly going to Disney World. So I start planning for it. You know, I go, where's my little Mickey bands? And I'll put them on a nightstand, and that puts it in my head that I need to save some money for that. And I'll look out for little coupons and things, or maybe different places we can stay at. I'll go browsing online, looking for things as far as hotel rooms that maybe we've never stayed at before. If you don't know, I have a personal goal to stay at every one of the Disney resorts. We're almost there. But anyways, I'll start planning, and that gets me excited. So a retirement plan, people go, oh God, I don't want to talk about retirement. It's so far away anyways. It's boring. I don't understand it. Just start basic. Right? Just start real basic, search IRAs, search retirement, watch my pretty little face pop up on YouTube, hopefully, and let us help you. So the first thing I want to talk about, and by far the most important thing that I want you to put in your plan, is how much do you need, right? And that is so hard to come up with. I get it, right? It's not easy. How much do you need? Now, what we did is we tried to simplify that and said, look, don't think of a dollar amount. Don't think of, I need $1 million in retirement. Just talked to a new customer today who said, I have to have $1 million, not a penny more. If we can't come up with a plan for me to have $1 million or not a penny less in retirement, then you're not a good fit for me. And I said, okay, that's fine. We can work that out. That's pretty simple. But why $1 million? What if you spend $100,000 a year in retirement? That's not enough money. What if you only spend 25? Then you're saving way too much. And so knowing the number in terms of your annual salary, you know the old saying, pay yourself first? Well, you're going to pay yourself later as well. So when you get to retirement, what is the salary that you want? What is it? If you're used to making $55,000 and you're 20 years away from retirement, can you live off $55,000 right now? Are you happy with that? And the answer might be, yeah, I'm pretty good with that. Turns out if my house was paid off, or I didn't need a car so much, or I could probably live off less actually. And so that's what you're going to factor that in. So step number one, you grab a piece of paper and you are going to write down the salary that you want, not the dollar amount. It's so hard to guess the dollar. Who knows how much in dollars you need? Not only that, you have to guess what that dollar is going to be worth. So when you come up with your salary, I've said it before, it's in today's dollars. See, what we do is you go, well, what about inflation? But inflation's like 2%, 3%, 7%. Everybody has an argument of what they think inflation will be. So why guess? I can't afford to tell my customers, well, I think you're going to have this much money in retirement. I can't do that. right? People would hate that. So I have to say, if you do it this way and we account for inflation along the way, then we know you'll be at a certain point, whatever that goal is. So your dollar amount in retirement is for today's dollars. If you make $55,000 now and you'd like to continue that into retirement, you'd be happy with that, then 55 is your number. So that's step number one, how much dough you're going to have, okay? That helps you know how much you have to invest. And we're going to walk through all of that this week. How much do you need to invest in the different plans that you have? That's the next kind of step to break it down. How are you going to split it up? So let's say you decided 55,000 was the amount you wanted. I don't know, as a number. Now let's say you have a 401k. You have a SEP, well, I don't know what, you have an old SEP IRA for some reason. You might have a Roth IRA. Maybe you have a regular old IRA, right? You might have just a standard taxable account. You go, Dustin, I don't want those restrictions of any type of IRA because I plan on retiring early and I understand that's going to cost me a little bit more tax-wise, but I don't want the penalties and all that stuff, and you have a plan to retire early. So maybe you just have a taxable account, right? And that's cool too. Or a personal wealth account that we call it sometimes. And so how are you going to split up the amount that you need to save into those different accounts, right? Anybody? So that's the next step, right? You know how much you need, you know how much that means you're going to probably want to put away, and now you go, well, where do I put it? How do I mix it up? Because I want the greatest tax advantage for the money that I put away. Some people just blindly put money into an account and then I go, yeah, but that's great. You got that. But now that our brain is cleared from how much we need, we don't have to think about that anymore. Now that we know we have available accounts and how much we need to put in, now we can go, what about taxes? Let's do this in the most tax efficient way possible. So if you're contributing to a 401k, we might talk about the Roth if you qualify. And I sort of always make that as a sticking point when I talk about these things, is to say, you go here next. If you have a 401k, put the money in up to the match, whatever it is, 3%, 5%, 6%. Talk to a guy today, Walmart matches 6%. Good for them. So then the next step is you go on to a Roth IRA if you qualify for it. Okay? Because now we're starting to play the tax game. And so many of you go, Dustin, I got this, man. I'm just going to go invest. I'm going to open my IRA or whatever. I'm going to start investing. It's going to be great. I go, good for you. I will never, ever try to talk somebody out of that. However, I'm going to suggest you keep taxes in mind. I need to know how you're investing. I want to make sure you're putting enough money away, right? Don't just think it's as easy as opening up an account and getting going, right? You got to get going. You got to know that you have that tax advantage. Because if you just save in a 401k, a straight up 401k for your whole life, and you get that free match, about a third of that's not your money. You got to factor that in. So the taxes are, they're not going to kill you, but they have to be factored in. So I'm not going to get all tax mad today. You want to make sure you have the greatest tax advantage on that one, okay? Next, how do you want to invest the dough? What are you going to do with it? We know your goal. We know how much you need to put away. We're going to get it tax advantaged in there. You're going to figure out which is the best way for you to go. Now, how should you invest? Do you need to invest super duper 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 aggressively? Do you need to swing for the fences? Maybe not, right? Do you need to invest in bonds? Can you just slow play it for the rest of your life? I don't know where you're at, but can you just slow play it? So we want to know what are those products that we're going to use. See, not everybody needs the market level risk. And I'll say it in terms of like an index fund. Index funds are great. I have no problem with index funds. However, everyone that picks index funds does it because of the cost. And if the cost is the biggest deal for you, you can just do it for free. You don't need the index fund. You can just simply do it yourself. Won't cost you a penny, right? So if the index fund, you pick it because you're like, I need market level risk. I'm so far away from retirement. I've done what I need to do here for my goal. If I don't have market level risk and growth, I won't get to my goal. Great. Now, if you're closer to retirement, or maybe you're like 20 years out and you got a head start, you go, well, I know my goal. I know what accounts I'm invested in. I don't have to take market level risk in all of my accounts. I don't have to be so aggressive because I did a good job. I saved, I invested, I was aggressive while I was younger. Now we can slow you down so that you don't participate in, you see what the markets are doing around the last couple weeks. You don't have to participate in that one for one because you're closer. You're getting to your goal. And most people never know that. I can't tell you, when the markets go crazy, we get a ton of customers because people get nervous. And the real answer, by the way, if you're watching, I hope you keep us in mind, but the real answer is you just don't know what you're investing for. You didn't answer this question up here, right? If you did, then you'd know you're taking the appropriate risk for your goal, and no matter what happens now, you're still going to get to that goal. So if you're closer to retirement, you need to scale back. Maybe you've already come close to your goal, you've reached some percentage to your goal, then that's important. I want you to know how you want to invest that dough. So our idea of a plan for you is very simple. I'm going to walk through it. Well, I won't write it out. But so what you're going to do, you're going to invest in your 401k up to the match. And typically that's not enough to reach whatever your dollar amount is that you think you need to save. So you're going to invest up to the match. The rest of it's going to go into a Roth IRA if you qualify, okay? That's not for everybody, by the way. It was just generally speaking. That helps us with that tax advantage there. So we've got a little 401k, a little bit of Roth IRA, and so that helps us get the tax situation figured out. Now from there, you are going to make sure you absolutely know that you're putting away enough money to reach whatever that goal is in retirement. Keep in mind that this is taxable income. So when you do that calculation, we do this for every one of our customers. As soon as they put in money in their account and we get started investing for them, we're going to go through and answer these questions or get the answers from you and start figuring out your number. But you got to remember that 401k is taxable. So a lot of people go, well, if I put $150 away in my 401k and the company matches $150, if you go 30 years from now, wow, I have a lot of money. It's taxable. Don't forget that part of it. You got to factor in the tax. Please. So that's the thing. So step one, 401k up to the match, then you move on to the Roth IRA. Step two, you're going to know your number. You absolutely got to know your number and know the investments that you need for that number. Step number three, you got to get your dough straight. So if I had a piece of paper and I'm writing down, all right, step number one, I'm going to my 401k, I'm going up to my match. Then I'm going to look at the Roth IRA. I'm going to keep Jazz in mind, but if they're not a good fit, they're not a good fit. Step number two, I'm absolutely going to know my number and know that I'm putting enough money away in all of my accounts to get there. And then I'm going to make sure I have the right investments. If I need to be aggressive, I'm going to grin and bear it, buckle down here, get aggressive, and no matter what the markets do, I'm going to stick with it. Step number three, I'm not actually writing it down, can you tell? So step number three, you're going to get your dough straight. That means a budget. That means taking a look at what you got, right? What's going on? Dollars in? Are they more than dollars going out? They better be. So you're going to look at your dough. It's time to get your dough straight. You very likely will have to invest and pay off debt at the same time if you've waited too long to save for retirement or the future, period. Right? I've done lots of videos that show you how to blend the two after you pay off some of your credit card debt and what point can you start looking over. We've done that before. But if you've waited too long, you are very likely going to have to do both. You cannot do both successfully if you don't have your dough straight, right? You got to get that straight. And then step number four, you're going to look at your kids. Your kids come last. Yep. Your kids come last, right? You are going to look at your proper insurance. Maybe it's an HSA account. Maybe it's some sort of term life you want for your family or whatever. At that point, you can look at that. Under no circumstance do you look at the whole life policies. You're going to look at maybe you're going to look at your auto insurance too and fine tune that, right? So I'm not an insurance guy, but you're going to go take a look at that and also look for your kids. We're going to talk about that on Friday. So really simple, right? The simple part is just getting started. Once you get it down, I can't tell you how many people, customers of ours, get excited by the market fluctuations because they understand how much they need to put away, where they need to put it away, what frequency, by the way, they need to put money away at. They understand they got the tax advantage. They're dialed in. They're like, I'm invested right. Jazz got me in the right investments. I have every other question answered. So when I watch a TV commercial and the guy goes, do you know how much you need for retirement? All of my customers go, yeah, I do. Turns out I'm on track. Everything's cool. As things come up in life, of course, we'll adjust along the way. But that's it. Nice. You have a portfolio with 5K, best to invest in individual stocks, hard to diversify with 5K individually. No, it's not hard at all. You can invest in all of that and individual stocks. You could actually invest in the entire S&P 500 by yourself, picking all those stocks, weighting them accordingly. If you wanted to, it's a matter of how much work do you want to do. So basically that SPY, the DIA, the Q, all they're doing is saying, we'll do that work for you. Go ahead, just pay us a little bit, we'll do the work for you. And that's fine. I mean, if you want to do that, it depends on what your goal is. So .com's saying, what's the best one to invest in? Actually, none of them if you're trying to be aggressive. So I would ask you, what is your goal? Why would you pick one of those indices versus another, right? Because .com may be looking at this going, I'm just going to be an index fund investor. Okay, but what made you think that? Was it the low cost? If so, then just do it yourself. Don't buy an index fund. Just do it yourself. It'll be 100% free. Was it the fact that someone told you you can't beat the S&P 500? Because that's not true. You just pick a different index and you will beat it historically over the long run. All you have to do is pick a different index, right? So if you're looking at, for example, if you look at the Dow and the S&P 500, by the way, if you did the S&P 500 and the Dow, you just replicated investments. So there's no need to do that. And then the NASDAQ, of course, more tech, biotech related. So if your focus was to be more tech weighted, then you would know which one to choose. So really depends on your goal. I would go back to all of this because my opinion is just that. But if you have something you need, I could give you the fact to tell you which way to go. When you say the plan for 67 to 87, do you mean that we should plan to use up all the retirement by 20 years, only taking the interest? You don't have to use it, Caleb, by the way. 87 average age that we use for men for retirement. So I'm sorry, for death, not retirement. So when we say 87, it means that by the, you may live a little longer, but the numbers that we do say, hey, look, by just after Christmas, when you're 87, you'll officially run out of money. If you want to plan for 90, 95 or something, and your family has a long history of extended life, then of course we want to adjust that. Yep. You're looking forward to get started with retirement investing. I know how much left to budget and save. Nice. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so that's what I have for you. So today was creating the creating the retirement plan, putting that together. Just take a piece of paper and put it down. If you're one of my customers and we haven't done it for you for some reason, let me know. I want my number. Tell me what my number is, Dustin, and I will send you everything I need from you. I will make it my homework. I am up very late every night doing these. I love doing these for people because it starts the conversation. If you have someone to start the conversation with, then when you have questions, you know you can come back. You can keep that conversation going. And so just got to start there. You just absolutely got to start there. Anyways, we will be back at 5 o'clock for the closing beat. And we're going to try something a little different. We got a sort of a different setup. You guys have probably seen it before. But we will see you then. Stock market's pretty active today, so I hope you're paying attention. If not, follow me on Twitter. I do tweet out some things throughout the day that are more market related or stock related, just facts and news events and things like that. Really appreciate it. @JazzWealth. And